algebra, we are moving on to a double PO day. It doesn't get any better than this. And it's all about one-step equations. Which the reason why we're doing two objectives is because you've done this before, right? And it is basically going to be kind of a review of the process. And if you remember how to solve an equation, what did Mrs. Gambino advertise to you and teach you?
I really don't know.
Do you recall?
I don't remember. Do you remember?
Opposite operation,
really.
right? Opposite operation. In fact, we are going to skip all of this stuff here except for the opposite operations section, because this is the one that I want you to carry on. So the original equation is n plus 6 equals 18. I'm going to write that again a little bit smaller. What is the opposite operations method to solve this? And I know that a lot of you can solve this mentally, and that's awesome, okay? But you're going to get to equations, I promise you, that you cannot do mentally. What about guess and check? Guess and check, does it work? Sure. Is it very efficient? No.
Yes.
And if you start getting decimal answers or fraction answers like 7/12, good luck guessing and checking something like 7/12, okay? So having this opposite operations method is the way to go. If it fails, could you use guess and check? Yes, right? But it takes longer, not very efficient. On a timed test, it's not going to benefit you as well as opposite operations. Well, that's what I'm going to be teaching you. When you show your work, that's what I'm going to require you to use. So, how would you solve this using opposite operations? And explain your thinking too, James. Yeah.
So I just do 18 minus 6.
Yeah, and why do you do that? Why?
Because it's the correct way to do it.
Okay, so this equal sign, it's probably been explained to you before as kind of like a balanced scale. And here's my only thing I can draw is a scale. And right now, you know, that equal sign is like that center post. It tells us that n plus 6 is balanced with or equal to or the same as 18. And if we just subtract 6 from 18, that's going to make this scale unbalanced, right? We have to do that to both sides. If we take away 6 from 18, we have to take away 6 from the other side as well to keep that scale balanced.
Oh, this thing.
Yes, this thing, right? So what's the purpose of subtracting 6 from that left side?
Oh, now I remember. See? I'm not so
Light bulbs. What's the purpose? What's the purpose of subtracting 6 from that left side? Why do we do it?
Because it equals 0.
It equals 0, right? If our goal is to find out what n equals, get n by itself, if we have n and we're adding 6 to whatever that value is, by subtracting 6, that cancels out, it equals 0, and we're left with just n by itself. Okay? If we take this 6 away from the left side of this balance, and we take 6 away from the right side, that allows us to determine that n equals 12. So the correct play here is to subtract 6 from 18. The reason why is because it's undoing what's being done on the left side. Opposite operations. It goes back to perm dots, right? Addition and subtraction are opposite. So if we're adding 6 on the same side as n, we subtract 6 to undo that, and that'll allow us to figure out what just n is by itself. Priscilla.
Do we need to show the reason why?
You do.
Why?
Yes.
I know how to do it.
That's great. Show me. Again, showing work, it helps understand where mistakes are made. It helps understand,
If we're not showing work on the test,
because this is the practice.
why do we
What?
Why do you do practice?
If we know how to do it already.
Yes. Again, I want to, like when you practice anything, like those of you in drama, I heard you didn't get through the play last night, right? Do you know your lines? Well, you should by now because you've had a lot of time, right? But why didn't you get through the play? Because you walked through everything, right?
These two
You walked through everything. You showed every blocking. You showed every, when the light was going to shine. I mean, that's why it's tech week. You work all these kinks out so the final performance is a breeze.
This is a different situation.
Okay?
Yeah.
Why?
Because we already know how to do it.
Oh, good.
Why
Then you can show me.
Why do we have to have a lesson? Oh my God.
You realize all I'm asking you to do is literally write like
But it
3
takes
things.
Yes.
That's too much work.
Yeah, that is way too much.
I think, but never.
Okay. If I can do it, then you can do it too. Questions on what we just did here?
I actually have more.
I already answered that. Because this is practice. It helps if you make a mistake. It helps identify where the mistake was made.
I hope you cry.
Right? What's that?
I hope you cry again.
Wow.
Do you think about what happened when you
Aiden.
everybody cried?
No, I've already been made fun of enough today. I don't need to have that. Okay, so coming down here, it says use 2 methods, but because I'm such a nice person, I respect your time, the spirit of Christmas.
Yeah.
You only need to use opposite operations.
No.
Okay? Or off. But the work does need to be shown. So, in this first one, 8 plus n equals 25. We look at that left side, the side with an n on it, and it's 8 plus n, which is the same thing, right, as n plus 8. So what are we going to do to this left side to undo that positive 8? Subtract 8. Okay? Everybody together. Minus 8. Minus 8. This is my favorite part. When we get to cancel that out.
What are we canceling out? It's covering both numbers.
Yes, exactly. We are canceling out the 8 and the negative 8 to get 0. That's why it works.
This doesn't make sense.
Okay?
I don't understand.
What doesn't make sense?
Just do 25 minus
Okay.
8.
So let's look at it this way. And we are doing 25 minus 8. That's the second step, Matthew.
We're
So-
making it more difficult than it has to
No, we are not.
Bias.
Again, and we will get to equations where you cannot do them mentally. And having this process is going to be very beneficial for you. I promise you.
So then what's a calculator?
Okay? Your calculator is good for guessing check, right? But if you don't know what number to guess and to check, or if the answer is like I said, 7/12, good luck guessing and checking
Couldn't you
7/12.
type it into Google too?
If you're taking a test, that's not going to serve you very well because Google's not going to give you the option. Okay, Melina. So here we go. The reason why I have flipped them was because sometimes it's easier to see that it's a positive 8 here if you write the plus 8 second. You don't have to. Okay, let's keep it the original way. But basically, what this is saying here, okay, is that we have 8, right? We're adding some number to that, some value, and we end with 25. So the question is, 8 plus what is going to get to 25? Right? Now, as people have said, well, all you need to do is subtract 8 from 25. Because you subtract 8 from 25, that gives you 17. That gives you the difference between 8 and 25, meaning if you add 17 to 8, 25 will be your final answer. Right? But we can't just subtract 8 from one side unless we also subtract 8 from the other side. You have to keep that equation balanced. So, subtracting 8 from the left, right? 8 minus 8 equals 0. Right? And if we take the 8 away from that left side, what are we left with? We're left with the variable. Okay? It's up here if necessary. Right? So, I'm sorry. Okay, does that help?
Yeah.
All right. So here's the trick.
I still don't know.
You want to do it all?
I think we should just do
Or you
that.
do one at a time?
There's a whole good place for a reason.
So you'll have to separate them then if you do them all at once.
That's an Angie of the do.
Okay.
I think that would be easier.
Oh, and so,
It's faster.
Yeah.
is your FPS too low?
Yeah, paper.
Frames per second is too low right now.
Slide that in.
Well, I'll make R6 right before I load it. Is that 9?
And pull it down. Wait for the
I'll be
click.
like, I'll be like.
Jam
Does
it.
that one actually get canceled? Yes, it did.
What did?
How?
How many times? Wait, what happened? When, how?
I didn't even finish any of it.
He's unable. You have 15 minutes of extra recess.
Hey,
15 minutes.
Persecuted again?
There you go.
Thank you, sir.
Yep.
Sorry to interrupt.
No, you're totally fine.
Wait, why do you have a printer?
The printer is because I print so many single sheets of retakes and that, and walking down the copy room just takes more time.
No,
And
just
then
like,
that
just
is
means you're
because the
lazy.
3-hole punch.
Too much work? Like how
If you
No.
were faster,
People
man.
complain
And
that
you
there's not
needed
enough
a
time for retakes,
wheelchair?
so I tried to help. And that's because the 3-hole punch in the copy room is broken.
If you were
That's
faster,
how
maybe.
you fell out of your chair last year and you needed a wheelchair.
No way you fell out of your chair. No
You
way.
broke your chair.
Oh, yeah.
I broke
Claire
my
and
chair, yeah,
Catherine
yeah.
were gonna go. get
No, the wheelchair was 'cause I hurt my back. That
Or
was-
yeah. 'Cause you
Not-
threw-
Okay,
Why don't
All right.
you back?
Next one, n minus 13 equals 19. So we look at what's going on here. We have some number that we're taking 13 away from, and our answer is 19. Okay? So is n going to be greater than 19 or less than 19? Greater, right? Because we're starting with a larger number. When we subtract 13, we end up with 19. What's the play here? What's the opposite operation of subtracting 13? Adding, right? But we can't just add 13 to one side because that's going to keep the scale on balance, right? Per plug, okay? We also have to add 13 to the left side because what is negative 13? Remember, this sign belongs to the number negative 13 plus 13.
0.
0. They cancel out again. That's the whole point of this. Because if you cancel out that constant, what you're left with is just the n, the value that you want. And then 19 plus 13 is 32. Okay? And if you plug that 32 back in, here's the beauty of this too. If you plug 32 back in for n, right, you can verify it works. Does 32 minus 13 equal 19? Yes, it does. Do the last one on your own, showing the work, show the steps. What's the play here? N plus 12 equals 50. Yes, 80.
I think it's just a waste of time.
Yeah, thank you for your opinion. Thank you. Yeah. When I was your age, I thought it was a waste of time too. Because could I do this in my head? Yes, I could. But because I was a good, well-behaved student,
You didn't go
and when
to
my
school.
teacher
I
said,
know French.
trust
You
me,
can't.
someday there will be equations you cannot solve mentally, I listened. And
No.
look at where it got me. And so,
Not very far.
what?
I'm still kind of confused.
Okay, what's your question?
See, you can't even make it.
Shh.
It's like,
What's your question?
for like the e plus n, you do like negative, or negative a plus. Why would you do negative a plus a positive a?
Over here?
Yeah,
So, a negative 8 plus a positive 8?
yeah, or
8 minus 8?
Yeah.
Because if my goal is to get n by itself, right, that's how I'm going to be able to tell what n is. N is by itself, okay? Because there's other stuff going on with the n here, the same side as the variable, I have to get rid of it. I have to move it, okay? But I can't just pick it up and put it on the other side of the equation without doing something mathematically. And the mathematical thing that I do here is I cancel it out. I remove it from the left side, saying I have 8. If I subtract 8, now these are gone. I'm just with n. Okay? It's like if you're sitting at that table with James, and I take James away from the table, now you're by yourself. Right? I've undone moving James there by moving him away, and now you're by yourself. Kind of the same thing here. Okay? We have 8 here. I want to get rid of it. So I subtract 8, because 8 minus 8 equals 0. These two things cancel out, and it's now by itself. In the second one, I was subtracting 13 from n. If I want to get n by itself, I have to undo subtracting 13. And what undoes that? Well, adding it does, because negative 13 plus 13 equals 0. Okay? So in the third one here, I'm adding 12 to n. I want to get n by itself, and so what's the opposite of adding 12?
subtracting.
Exactly. Right? So you're going to subtract 12 from the left side, the purpose of that being to then get n by itself, and then you're also going to subtract 12 from the right side. The purpose of that being, what's the value of n? N equals 38. And you can plug that back in, like I said, if you plug in 38 for n and add 12 to it, 38 plus 12 does indeed give you 50.
Oh,
Okay? James, thank you for your patience.
So you know how you said you listened to your teachers back in high school? And look where it got you? Laser beam dropped out of high school. And look where he is now, making millions of dollars living in a multi-million mansion.
Yeah, lucky guy. But I
Yeah,
can spend all my days with you people. So
So,
lucky me.
do you like that?
Lucky me. Yeah, I always leave so uplifted. Yeah.
I really like how Jim said, you know, how you listen to your teacher.
Yeah.
The only reason why you listen to your teacher is because you had no other friends.
Right.
So
No one
your
else is
teacher
talking to
you
me.
got.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
Probably hate
Okay.
all those teachers.
Okay. Other questions on this? Nora, turn around, please. Harrison, turn around, please. Okay. Let's look at the second page. Just kind of get a. Let's look at the. Well, Michael, start with the first one. N plus 7 equals 20. Right? Now, all I want you to look for here is what's happening on the same side of the equation as n. Harrison, what's happening on the same side of the equation as n? What are we doing?
I watch problem.
The first one.
The other side of the equation.
What's happening on the same side of the equation as n? What else is there?
It's a 7.
The positive 7.
Yeah.
Okay. What is the opposite of a positive
Negative
or adding 7? Negative 7. That's exactly what you're going to do to both sides. That's what I want you to think about. What's being done to n? What is the opposite of that? Do it to both sides. Okay? And 20 minus 7 is 13. If you plug it back in to check it, does 13 plus 7 equal 20? Yes, indeed it does. But what?
How do we know it's 13 without using our hands or like a computer?
Wait, why'd you put negative?
How do we know that 20 minus 7 is 13? I think that's probably a mental fact
Quick maths.
that you can do.
That's then why?
Wait,
Why do you put the negative 7 on?
yeah, he's just
making
making
It's so it's
Nope,
making
nope.
it harder.
No. It's might be different than how you're used to solving an equation, but please trust me that when we get to moving terms around from one side of the equation to the other, when we get to equations that you just can't do in your head, you're going to need a process.
I don't
Because
trust.
guess and check is not going to be the most efficient way.
I don't have a trust.
You
Okay.
don't have to get you can just do the 20s.
For this one, yes.
Exactly. Why can't
By the end of the year, you're going to be doing things that are like this.
Okay, but like
I
we're
can't
not
see.
I have a question.
That is completely
Right? I mean, you're not going to do that mentally. Okay? And if you go with guess and check, I mean, how successful you are depends on how lucky you are, in a way. And like I said, if the answer to this is 7/12, good luck guessing and checking 7/12. A calculator can only help you, calculate things. It can't solve the variable for you. So this what we're doing now is building up to this. Like who's taken the swimming lesson before me? Okay? They don't throw you in the deep end when you're a toddler.
That's
You
the best
start-
way to do it.
you start- No. You start with bobbing. You start with just blowing bubbles. You start with holding on to the rail and kicking. Right? It's
Teach them right.
this is what I'm requiring you to do because please trust me. If you don't, then you don't. And please trust me, this is going to be beneficial in the long run. Okay? Ziki,
So if we know 7 minus 7 is 0, what's the point of doing it?
because if you make a mistake, then we can at least see that you did the right thing. It was a calculation mistake, not a procedural mistake.
So we're
Right?
gonna make a mistake by minusing 7 minus 7.
It's
might.
obviously gonna be 0.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. Great.
So what's the point of doing it?
If this is the hardest thing you're asked to do today, Ziki, you've had a pretty good day. James,
What does this what do I need this in mind for?
anytime that you are solving for an unknown value.
What about I need an example, please.
I will follow you around, and the next time a situation arises when you need to solve for an unknown value, I will make you aware of it.
Okay.
Amelia!
Well, if you're just gonna work at Target and you're just gonna be like there, how does this help Target?
I've never worked at Target, so I don't know all the intricacies.
What?
Yeah, we're on Target.
Enzo!
He doesn't.
I didn't put -7 -7. There's like a little separation here where the equal sign is. Okay? So I took 7 away from both sides. And again, the reason why I took 7 away from both sides is because the opposite of adding 7 is subtracting 7 to get to 0. And then 20 minus 7, I have to do the same thing on the other side to keep that equation balanced. Okay? Pick another one. What's someone going to do? Aiden.
N plus 9 equals -14.
N plus 9 equals -14. We're looking at the third row, middle one here. Okay? And again, the question I want you to ask yourself, Aiden, what is being done to n? What operation? Addition. What's the opposite of that? Subtraction. So what are you going to be doing to both sides of the equation here? Subtracting 9. Right? The opposite of adding 9 is subtracting 9. Okay? Ziki, what is -14 minus 9?
What?
What is -14 minus 9? What is the value for n here? What's that? Nope.
-23.
-23. Okay? Now we've done that before, right? That was PO8. That's why the things that I'm teaching you, they come up again. Right? So you've been very, very critical of what's being done up here right now. But I have a feeling, Zeke, you're also going to be the person, if you don't learn this, struggling with guessing and checking with longer equations when they come about. So let's just okay. So n minus 9 equals 0. They cancel out. N is by itself. -14 minus 9. We're starting at -14. We're going to the left 9, subtracting 9. It's further away from 0. -23 is going to be our answer. Again, we can check this. If n equals -23, does -23 plus 9 equal -14? Yes, it does. We can verify that it works. Matthew.
Are we still gonna work on PO17?
We are not going to get to PO17 today. I have failed in the speed run of 4 pages today. Amelia.
Are we gonna be able to use a calculator on this?
You will be able to calculate on the test. Yes.
But not in homework?
You can use it on homework. That's up to you, but you do need to show your work. Okay? Work has been shown throughout. Very good. Did it take that long?
Yes. Well, I mean, we have 2 minutes left of class. So
You have 7 minutes left of it.
Oh, I thought class goes to 25.
It's okay.
That's
On
not
math
what
day,
that's
yes.
for.
Not regular day.
You just
So, yeah.
saw the bag, Matt.
See, you just got down to work, didn't complain, just did this, and now you're done. Now you have no homework tonight.
I'm
Fantastic.
done.
Okay, great job. See, it doesn't take that long.
Mr. Schultz,
All the
You
all
just
the yipping and the yapping.
you just don't.
I'm done with PO17.
There you go. Look at you people. Ziggy, are you done?
Just don't listen to him.
No, because you were yipping yapping.
Wait,
What? Don't listen to Mr. Schultz and just do the work.
All right. Your homework for tomorrow is to finish PO16. Work must be shown. And we can do some more together if you need to after I... Yellow. Excellent. Yes. No. That is correct. Okay, bye-bye. Okay,
That's something serious.
any that you want to do together.
What was that call about?
Whether or not you can use a help sheet someone else created on a test. And the answer to that is no.
That's pretty funny.
Yeah, why would someone
Essentially, it
that
has
you
for you.
don't allow any size of help sheet because you want to know how much time I spent
We've
stressing
been
over
down
the
this road
part-
before.
You
It no
still
longer applies.
haven't told me.
PO16, any that you want to do together.
Just like staple it 4 pages of paper.
Enzo,
I did the
Chili.
what's the equation?
9 plus, or n plus 9 equals negative.
We just did that one.
Oh,
We literally, it's right there on the board. Literally. Nolan,
12 plus n.
negative 12 plus n equals 10. Right. Okay. So negative 12 plus n equals 10. Okay. This is where, Melina, this is why I switched the order on the first page, that one there. Negative 12 plus n, it's the same thing as n minus 12. You can rearrange those as long as you keep the sign. It doesn't change the value of the equation. And for some folks, it's easier to see that you need to add 12 here because written as n minus 12, it's just easier to see that the opposite of subtracting 12 is adding 12. Okay? But written the way they are here, if we want to get rid of that constant, get rid of that negative 12, what's the opposite of a negative 12?
Positive 12.
Positive 12. So we're going to be adding 12 to both sides here because negative 12 plus 12 cancels this out, brings us to 0, and then 10 plus 12 equals 22. And if we plug that in and check it, negative 12 plus 22, does that equal 10? The answer is yes, it does. Okay? So all you're doing for all the thought process for all these, don't let numbers, don't let negative signs, don't let that throw you off. All it is what's with n, right? What else is on the same side as n? And then what's the opposite operation of that? How do I undo that? Okay? Again, work does need to be shown. This is due tomorrow, the rest of PO16. I think it's just all equations. There might be something fun at the very bottom here. Yes, two word problems to do in honor of James. When will you use this in the real world? These are two of many, many examples.
I don't think kids.
Yes, Matthew.
Alright, so this is an estimate of what percentage of the stuff they learned in school do you still use to this day?
Me?
Yeah.
Probably less than half.
So then what the heck's the point?
Because when you don't know what you're going to be yet, you want to learn as much as you can about as much as you can, so you know what your interests
I
are.
don't know what I'm
Right? Like if I only took science in grade school, but wanted to be a math teacher, I'd be in a little bit of trouble. Right? So you take a little bit of science, a little bit of math, a little bit of history, a little language arts, a little bit of technology. You start to see what your interests are, and that's when, in high school, college, whatever, career path, you can gear towards that thing. But we have to give you a little bit of everything so that you know what you like.
But you know what we should do? If we already in middle school we already don't like the thing, we don't like say if we don't want to be like a biologist or like something like that. We can just not do science. We don't want to be a history teacher, we don't want to do social studies.
Yeah, there's things in science though that are important, like the ability to create a hypothesis and test it and come to a conclusion. Like that scientific method branches out to other things too. You know, medical doctors, how they decide to diagnose something is through testing. They have a hypothesis, they test it, they come to a conclusion.
So if you want to do that, you can take that class in middle school.
Sure, but I mean, in middle school, I wanted to be a professional wrestler or an astronaut. Like things might change between now and when you actually go through it. You know, thank you. All right, folks, that was a fun one. I feel very uplifted and improved. That's how you math.